Revenue that fund North Korea's efforts to develop the deadliest weapons known to humankind.
All right, it is Friday, September 22nd. President Trump hitting North Korea where it hurts, their wallet. Now a furious Kim Jong-un is threatening to go nuclear, and we are live.
And capsized at sea, a mother and her sons pulled from the raging waters. This happened off the coast of Hurricane Irma as it ravaged Puerto Rico. As Maria continues her march, unleashing fury in the Caribbean. Janice Dean is tracking the new path.
I want to dedicate this song to Colin Kaepernick tonight.
And also this morning, how Jay-Z is now taking his support for Colin Kaepernick to the next level. Fox and Friends First starts right now.
Well, up to today, we'll forget about it. But going forward, it means that they can be means that they'll lose their access to doing business in dollars, and essentially
Former Alabama Chief Justice Roy Moore, who got the endorsement of the group Citizens for Trump, now sparring with Strange over his endorsement from the president.
To have my opponent say I'm attacking him by standing here and telling the truth about how he got his appointment, about how he made his living.
the president is on my side, and what you just said reveals a total lack of understanding of the president and of his character and of his determination and of his loyalty and of his friendship.
Fighting for that support, the winner of Tuesday's vote will then face Democrat Doug Jones.
Well, Vice President Mike Pence also getting out of Washington, returning to his home state of Indiana today. Well, he will give a speech pushing for the administration's overhaul of the federal tax code after meeting with families and local business owners. The vice president will also try to appeal to Senator Joe Donnelly, he's a Democrat, who could potentially help push tax reform through the Senate. President Trump will visit Indiana next week.
Republicans hard at work racing against the clock to secure enough votes to finally repeal and replace Obamacare ahead of next week's deadline. Senators behind this new bill vowing it's the best move for Americans. Talking about Graham Cassidy here. Jackie Ibanez joins us now with what exactly is at stake in all this. Hey, Jackie.
Hey, good morning, Rob. Well, the Senate is bracing for a showdown next week as the White House campaigns for the necessary 50 votes needed to get the Graham Cassidy health care reform past the finish line. Since no Democrats are expected to vote yes, there's little to no wiggle room. Pressure now building to get Republican holdouts on board with all of this. The new draft overhauls or eliminates major sections of Obamacare, sends block grants back to the states, and governors use money as they see fit, allowing states to design their own health care systems. But the co-sponsors of the bill say there'll be limits on that.
If a state wants to do something different than what our bill says, they have to come to the federal government, the Secretary of HHS, and show that those are pre-existing conditions shall have access to adequate and affordable coverage.
There's a mandate in this bill that goes with the block grant that every state in the nation must cover people with pre-existing conditions. So not one person is going to be denied coverage in any of the 50 states because they have a pre-existing condition.
There are a number of undecided Republican senators, the three who voted no in July, Collins, McCain, and Murkowski, conservatives Cruz and Lee, and then moderates Capito and Portman, with Kentucky's Rand Paul affirmed no. Some on Capitol Hill suggest it could come down to McCain and Murkowski again, with leadership only able to lose one more Republican. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has asked the Finance Committee to hold a public hearing early next week, clearing up any doubts before the crucial vote. Heather?
All right. Thank you very much. Jackie Ibanez live for us this morning. Well, around-the-clock rescues are continuing in Mexico City following that 7.1 magnitude quake that left tremendous devastation. You can see some of it right there. At least 273 people are now dead, with another 60 being pulled from the rubble. Now, this comes as Mexican officials say that 12-year-old girl that we told you about, apparently trapped underneath the school, well, that girl never existed, despite crews reportedly working dozens of hours to save her. Well, the tremors of the quake even causing city streets like this one. Look at this closely. Looks like it is breathing, moving up and down. And a mother and her 2 children lifted to safety after their boat capsizes in Hurricane Maria. This dramatic video was captured. You can see the family waving their hands in the air. They're desperate for help, obviously. This was off the coast of Puerto Rico. They called for help for hours earlier as the storm threw the boat all around in 20-foot waves, but it was too late for the father. He was later found dead. Recovery efforts in Puerto Rico will ramp up today as the airport tarmac does open finally to receive some much-needed emergency supplies. Rob?
All right, the family of Aaron Hernandez now suing the NFL and the New England Patriots after tests revealed the former player suffered from severe brain injuries.
Aaron Hernandez had an advanced stage 3 of CTE, which is usually found in the median age of a 67-year-old man.
And take a look at this. First Lady Melania Trump preparing for her first solo trip at the Invictus Games in Canada. She's scheduled to meet with Britain's Prince Harry, who founded the annual event. That was 3 years ago.
The Invictus Games invites thousands of injured and wounded veterans from around the world to participate in sports competitions. It's an awesome event, and it's very cool that she's going to be attending that with a couple other people as well.
I'm sure people will be looking at what she's wearing, as usual.
Of course.
Well, the time now is 8 minutes after the top of the hour. And the fight against ISIS in danger because of a bomb shortage. The Air Force now sounding the alarm on a budget shortage that could blow up America's war on terror.
You say nothing until Hillary Clinton loses, and all of a sudden we're at war with Russia. Can you see why some of us are saying, well, wait a second, Rob Reiner, where were you with China? Why are you selling your movies over there? Tucker Carlson taking on Hollywood, why he's calling out the hypocrisy of the anti-Trump Hollywood elite.
And quarterback Tom Brady raising some eyebrows with this one. Drinking water protects you from the sun. The claim getting social media on fire. Welcome back to Fox and Friends First. He is hailed as a hero in the U.S., but are making sure that he stays behind bars. Dr. Shaquilla O'Freedy, the physician who helped the CIA locate Osama bin Laden, was arrested soon after the terror leader was arrested in 2011. Now, Pakistan's prime minister telling Fox News that Afridi violated many laws and must pay for it. This despite repeated efforts by Congress and President Trump to facilitate his arrest.
All right, months after the Air Force dropped the mother of all bombs in Afghanistan, we are now learning our explosive supply is actually running low. The Air Force Secretary now warning if Congress does not approve defense spending, we can increase bomb production. We can increase production of bombs and missiles to fight terror overseas. So if they don't do that, we can't make that increase to make more bombs. It's obviously what's going on here. U.S. aircraft drop about 100 precision weapons on Iraq and Syria every single day. We are dropping a lot of inventory right now, and they need to produce more. Yeah.
Well, major tech companies, they are under fire for enabling extremists, starting with Amazon, which is being called out for making it easy to buy bomb-making materials.
All right, so how can tech companies crack down? We are asking the cyber guy, Kurt Knudsen. Hey, Kurt, good morning.
Hey, Rob, good morning to you. Heather, good to see you. We're talking about Amazon this morning in the news. Why? Because, well, apparently in London, somebody did a test, and they went on and they said, all right, if we search for things like ball bearings, what might come up in that section of Amazon, you're familiar with it, where it suggests, hey, this is frequently bought with this other item. We'll put in something like ball bearings, and what we found is that other bomb-making material is out there helping, say, somebody like a terrorist find a bomb-making goods on the website and buy them all at once. Well, not a really good idea, even though all these items are rather legal to buy in the UK and in the US. Amazon says it's looking into the idea that this feature could help people in this bad way and says that they'll address it at some point. We also move on to another online biggie called Facebook. Yes, you're on it as well. We're talking about the online service, the giant social network with 2.2 billion people now saying, well, we're going to look into and add some human beings to a problem that says you and I could go buy an ad on Facebook and target hate groups, such as somebody did. They went on and they said, oh, what if we buy an ad for $30 and reach 2,300 people that are anti-Semitic? Well, they did. Searching for keywords such as Jew haters and how to burn Jews, some other disgusting phrases, they were able to go on, and for $30, they reached 2,300 people for, well, in just 15 minutes. If you wanted to know how hate groups come together, Facebook is really the one that's doing this. And I got to tell you, as a cyber guy, I have watched this unfold, and even though this is what Sheryl Sandberg is saying, and we'll read this first. She says this, and this is a COO of Facebook acting completely surprised. She says, seeing those words made me disgusted and disappointed, disgusted by these sentiments and disappointed that our systems allowed this. The fact that hateful terms were even offered as options was totally inappropriate and fail on our part. Well, Sheryl Sandberg, come on. Wake up, get real. Facebook has been doing this for a long time. Their number one goal is to get you and me on their service for the longest amount of time, and then add our friends to that list and then sell that to a bunch of advertisers or someone who happens to have $30 and wants to reach a hate group.
It does seem like it's somewhat incidental, though, right? With both of these stories, with Amazon and with Facebook, it's not like they're out there. Amazon doesn't want people building bombs. It's just the way that their technology works. If people are buying these things together, it's going to put them together. They just haven't stopped it yet.
I don't think the intention started with the idea of, hey, we want to create a service that does all this reach to people, but at the same time may hurt people. No, that was not their intention, but guess what? This just didn't happen last night. These algorithms that are used are proprietary. They're secret sauce of the companies. They don't easily reveal them to law enforcement, and it's a wake-up call.
That's the question, Kurt. Then what do they do about it? Both of these incidents, I mean, what can they do without invading people's privacy, you know, in the first, seeing who's buying these things, and then in the second, who is buying the ads?
The deal is they've got to wake up to the idea that our security, our safety, being American comes first before making a buck. You got to turn that off, Facebook, and give some priority to our own security here in the country.
Especially when you make a lot of bucks like Amazon and Facebook. Kurt, thanks so much. We do appreciate it. All right, 17 minutes after the hour, Sanctuary Family coming to your prime time lineup. The TV network under fire for a new television show that some say will glamorize illegal immigration.
And breaking breakfast news for you this morning. Oh, yeah.
All right, welcome back. Drugstore chain CVS stepping up in the fight to stop the opioid epidemic in this country, which the Trump administration has labeled a national security nightmare.
To confront a crisis of this scale, we must have a comprehensive antidote to the problem. It's prevention, enforcement, and treatment.
The nationwide retail chain will now limit prescriptions in an attempt to stop overdoses. So many ODs on opioids in this country. New patients with acute conditions will only be allowed a 7-day supply. The pharmacy will also cap daily dosages and only fill versions of the drugs that work for shorter time frames. Nearly 90 million people use CVS to fill their prescriptions. That is a lot of people.
Sure is. Virtual quarterback still out of a job since the 49ers cut him last season.
All right, Mercedes-Benz making a major investment in the state of Alabama. That'll put hundreds of Americans back to work.
And Tracy Crosco from our sister network, Fox Business, is here with those details. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, this could be a move to keep up with Tesla, but Mercedes-Benz is going to invest $1 billion into U.S. manufacturing. They're going to produce electric SUVs. Now, Mercedes-Benz plans to add about 600 jobs at this plant in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Now, they already are also planning to add a battery plant to that area as well. Now, construction of that battery plant should start sometime next year.
It really shows their faith in American workers, because it's some of the best engineering in the world. For them to be building them here is a really good sign.
Well, something you never want to do is drink and drive, but TGI Fridays is testing out booze delivery to your home, wherever you are.
You know, this is a great idea, but TGI Fridays, they're pairing up with this company called Lash, and what you're going to be able to do, you're going to be able to order food and alcohol through their mobile app. So the company will, the delivery company will go to a partnered liquor store. They'll pick up your beer, your liquor, and then they'll pick up the food and bring it all to you in one nice little package. So they're testing this out in Texas right now. Hopefully they'll roll it out nationwide sometime in 2018. And, you know, they are going to check check IDs when they come bring you your food and alcohol. No underage drinking there for the kids.
The ears are perking up. But that's not, it's going to be like bottles of booze, not like, ordering a gin and tonic.
You can't just order like a margarita or you've got to order maybe a 6-pack.
I got it. Okay. And we're talking about Starbucks. It's 90 degrees in New York today, and we're talking about fall maple pecan lattes, huh?
Yes. Today, Starbucks is rolling out their maple pecan lattes because, come on, let's be honest, we're all a little over the pumpkin spice, right? So this is going to be a latte, a blend of espresso, milk, maple syrup, and pecan. And, researchers believe this is going to be a big hit because consumers are really getting tired of the pumpkin spice. Now, as far as sales, pumpkin spice products, they're still going up those sales, but year-over-year growth, that's slowing down. And we've got the maple pecan latte here to try in Starbucks, their new fall cups. Not a fan.
It needs a little sugar, but it's pretty good.
This tastes like Mama put a little pat of butter in the coffee.
A little too buttery for you?
I like it.
Buttery. It just tastes like a little
I like it.
I think I got the non-fat, and I never do on non-fat. So, but
you got the healthy one.
I got mine with a little almond milk in it.
This one you might like this one better.
Is there something else? Because then I'm really gonna like it.
TGI Friday delivered some whiskey. It's at the bottom.
It's a little lukewarm.
Oh, you don't like it? Oh, Genesis.
I like it. It's not as sweet as the pumpkin spice. So.
Just taste some butter. Hit of sugar.
I do.
Yeah.
Sorry about the lipstick.
Butter pecan.
Oh, that's okay.
What is it? Maple pecan?
Maple pecan.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It tastes like Mama's pecan pie, and then she added a little
nice
butter.
little 600 calorie start to your day.
Easily, right?
Listen, it's caffeine. I'll drink anyway.
We'll take it. At this hour, anything we can get.
Cheers, everybody.
All right,
Yes,
cheers.
happy Friday.
All right, thank you, Starbucks.
Pancakes with maple syrup.
That's right.
Yes.
And we'll be right back.
Cheers.
This Friday morning, happy Friday to you. And the U.S. will pay dearly. North Korea, Kim Jong-un threatening to test a hydrogen bomb after President Trump announced tough new sanctions to strangle his country's economy.
Yeah, the back and forth continues. Doug Luzader's live for us in Washington, D.C. with the escalating tensions. Good morning, Doug.
Heather and Rob, good morning. Escalating is right. This standoff is getting more and more personal between President Trump and North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un. The president called him, of course, Rocket Man at that UN speech, and now Kim is responding. The president, though, is talking about new economic sanctions against North Korea.
North Korea's nuclear weapons and missile development is a grave threat to peace and security in our world, and it is unacceptable that others financially support this criminal rogue regime.
Now, Kim Jong-un did not waste much time responding, especially after those UN remarks earlier this week, and he called President Trump deranged. And then this. Whatever Trump might have expected, he will face results beyond his expectation. I will surely and definitely tame the mentally deranged U.S. dotard with fire. Now, there are real concerns that the North may be on the verge of another missile launch or a nuclear test. These new sanctions are designed to go after anyone who does business with North Korea, essentially excluding them from the U.S. financial system.
No bank in any country should be used to facilitate Kim Jong-un's destructive behavior. Foreign financial institutions are now on notice. They can choose to do business with the United States or with North Korea, but not both.
Now, those sanctions may have an impact, but a larger question here looms. What will China do? They wield so much power in this situation. The White House says there are indications that China may impose some sanctions of its own on North Korea. Heather and Rob.
Well, that would be a switch. They don't even really follow, at least up to now, the sanctions that they're supposed to be following. Yeah. So we'll see.
Well, we will see. All right, Doug, thanks so much.
Thank you. Well, Senate Republicans, meantime, they're counting heads and they're doing the math as they prepare for a crucial vote next week on a last-ditch effort to repeal Obamacare. Jackie Ibanez joins us now live with what is at stake. Good morning, Jackie.
Hi, good morning. Well, the Senate is bracing for a showdown next week as the White House campaigns for the necessary 50 votes needed to get the Graham-Cassidy health care reform past the finish line. Since no Democrats are expected to vote yes, there's little to no wiggle room. Pressure now building to get Republican holdouts on board with all